So, morning. What can I say? It's a beautiful morning. It's my wedding anniversary. So what better thing to do? Come out to the garage. I thought, yeah, you know what? I've been thinking about this project for a little bit. So I thought I'd make a quick little video and tell you what I've decided. As you know before, we had... I'll actually have a little sip of that. It's early. I think it's early. No, it's 11 o'clock. So what we thought we'd do is we'll start going easy with some bits that I've already got. Keep the price down, right? So I made before a self-driving car. One of the big problems that I had was that the compass was getting interference from the motors. So it was beautiful until you started driving, and then the whole direction would just start going really skew-if. Hence why I had a mount up to here for the compass, which is probably completely fried now that I've just touched it. But that used to sit up here. It's still got some interference with the motors, but I thought, right, I'll quickly talk you guys through what the old model had. So, because obviously I say I love the Nano, and this next project is going to be using an Uno R4, which is like the Nano on acid. That's an ESP32 S3 Nano, which is beautiful. It's got a mounting board. These things, they're worth their weight in gold, because you just literally put it off and on, and you don't have to disturb all the wiring and everything like that. So I'll talk you through it. To start with, we had the Nano, which is the brains. It started small. Doesn't have a laser on it yet. It's not warfare. That's going to be one of the best bits of the add-on. So this had a Nano, and it had Wi-Fi connect up to an app, on HTTP, and just it acts like a little web server, which is on the ESP32 side. That's quite interesting. We're going to reuse that. Just maybe in the start, maybe it'll evolve into something bigger, and we'll have I don't know, what's that one called? I don't know, some sort of defense grade. No, we won't. It'll probably be HTTP or Bluetooth or something like that, And then we've got your motor controller. It takes a signal from the thing. You push the button, it sends a coded message, goes down there, and comes out, and it drives the wheels, right, through a motor controller. Obviously, they're high power, so you can't pull that from a Nano or from a small circuit board. So you need a motor controller, or it's like power amplifier if you like, and that goes out to the wheels. Now, each wheel has got a motor. There is a small little caveat with that, not caveat, quirk. But one side comes out one side of the board, the other side comes out the other side of the board, because this is for just two motors. So I hope you can see that, by the way. So that will drive this side, that will drive that side. In the code, you send both sides forwards to go forwards, both sides to go back, and one side forwards, one side back, depending which way you want to turn on the skid steer. The old JCB term, or whatever it is, the digger term, whatever. This is a buck converter, so you can take these are 3.7 volts lithium ion, I think they are. So that obviously gives you 7.4 volts. You need to drop it down to 5 volts for this. So that takes a steady 7.4 in, drops it down to a steady 5 volt going out. You can also drop it down to 3.3 if you want. It's got a tuning screw there, so you just tune it that way. It's got an SD card to remember all of its waypoints, where it's been, and act as memory. Even though an SD card isn't volatile memory, I've been using it as volatile memory, but without deleting it, so really not volatile. But that's kind of what it's been replicating. It's been replicating the RAM in a computer, because the actual memory buffer isn't too great on this. Hence, in the other videos, I said it's great, but it's limited. So I found that even though it shouldn't, it does fall over on memory management. So that would be something I need to dig into, or use a bigger board. Maybe an Uno R4. How's about that? Strange that. It had GPS. So when you'd send it forwards, it would log all the GPS coordinates that it records. That was just for me. And that's your GPS antenna. Again, it's surrounded by everything, but because GPS is a coded message, you could use any satellite navigation system, but this one runs off GPS, which is the American system. Also takes GLONASS, which is a Russian system. Doesn't do the European version, but later chips, later receivers and everything will do. And then it goes out to there, feeds back into the Nano, and then that decides which way it wants to turn, which way it wants to go, and whether you're there yet or whatever. In the app, I would put a GPS point that I want it to drive to. So this would then say, well, that's where I want to get to. This is where I am. Don't know which way I'm going until I start moving. Something weird about that chip. Maybe I need to look into the code a bit more. Do that on this project. And when it starts moving, it then knows what direction it's facing, because the compass then calibrates. Of course, you've got a battery pack there. Once it knows what way it's going, every second it updates and says, I'm now here, which way do I want to go? And then the compass says, okay, turn a little bit this way. And then what would happen is that as soon as the motor started operating, because they're obviously coils and they create a magnetic field themselves, it would then go, where the hell am I? I don't know where I'm going. I'm spinning around too fast. I'm in a flat spin. Mav. Oh dear, that's an old film. But Top Gun, if you didn't get the reference, that was Top Gun. And then these are just, it's all cheap and cheerful stuff, right? So I thought, I like that project, made it work-ish. A couple of little things that weren't great about it. Like I said, mainly the EM interference, or the electromagnetic interference when the motors are operating. Now, two main ways that I could deal with that is either shield them or move them further away. So what I did was I moved the compass up here, and it generally was all right. It was less fluctuating. Less sporadic. Really use proper English, shouldn't I? It was less sporadic. So, which means it doesn't fluctuate as much. It keeps nice, steady and true. It did still get affected by these motors. So what I want to do is I put a compass on them, and I noted that on the end here, the electromagnetic interference isn't that great. I know. Maybe I should check that first. But I'm doing it this time. So obviously it's further away from the motor. Because the motor's up here. This is just a gearbox. But I did find... Now, this was released in 2005. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. You should be able to. It was in view earlier. But this looks beautiful. The answer to my prayers. Right, and I put a little antenna up here. It's so far away from the compass. So we thought we'd use this. Well, I thought we would use this little base model, because what I'm looking at here, although this is all rigid and solid, I'm thinking it's got pivot points here. I could put a coilover damper across that, and then it would kind of self-level on one side, and then if you crossed it over like that, put suspension dampers on there across diagonally, although you'd still have four, you would effectively have a self-leveling suspension. So one goes down, the other one drops. So it would kind of self-level a bit, which is kind of important. There is of course, the other way you could do it, which is the way that Citroen do it. You know, decent manufacturers back in the day, not nowadays. I don't know if they're any good now. Never have the money to buy a new car. But in the old days, you used to have like the Citroen DS, the Citroen CX, XM, the BX. Oh, how much I wanted a Citroen BX when I was younger. Obviously, when it became my money and I had to earn it, I thought, can't afford that. Can't afford the repairs on that. But they had this little suspension system, which was hydrogas or hydro elastic, I think it was called. One type was used on the Metro, which was just one cylinder sphere, hydraulic sphere, which is just an accumulator, gas charged accumulator, and that operated on one axle, on one strut. With the Citroen system, it's all interlinked, so the car stays 100% level. I mean, you can go down a plough field, well, maybe not a plough field, but you could go down a really bumpy road, and we've got a few round here. I remember when I was a kid, my dad took his CX down this, and my granddad was like, "Oh, it's faulty." That was. It's perfectly comfortable to me. He goes, "Oh, I wouldn't put a cup of coffee on this dashboard." So my dad had the whole suspension overhauled, which had 5 spheres, one on each corner and one overall. And that just dampened out and all the wheels moved, so the car stayed 100% level. But a long-winded way of saying Citroen got something right and then they got rid of it. Progress, I suppose. But anyway, so I'd like to recreate that, and the reason being is that once this chassis has been made, I want to build on it. Alright, so we're going to start with the self-driving, so it can basically, what I did on that one, on a decent example, and you can hear it printing in the background. That looks nice. This particular one is, if you want it, you can go to www.pocketmagic.net. It is by Radu Motosan. Hope I said that right, or Motosan. Sorry about that. If I pronounced your name wrong, obviously I did, because I pronounced it 2 ways. It was uploaded on January 12th, 2025. So it's not that old really, and it looks the biz, right? It looks nice from an engineering perspective. But like I say, other than the suspension adaptation, which could be done, I think that's quite a nice way away from the motors to mount the compass and the GPS unit. So I'm hoping that will cure that problem. And the stage 2 of this project is either a LiDAR or some sort of range sensing unit. There are a few Arduino projects, so the Nano is going to get used again. Or I'm going to use one way or the other. But the Nano and the Uno is going to get used. So it's quite large, roughly. I mean, it's printing out at the moment. That looks roughly. Hold on. Have I got my really, really accurate measure? From an old recruitment company. Back in 1 second. Hold on. Let me just see how long that is. That's about 15 centimeters long, so it's about 10 wide. Okay. roughly. We'll do a proper measurement when it's actually finished printing, because I don't want to actually put the rule on the bed. Yes, it's a rule, not a ruler. We do have one of those. But that's generally in government or above government. We call him the king at the moment. But yes, so the difference between a rule and a ruler is a ruler rules something, and a rule gives you a measurement. Okay, or it's something that you have to abide by. But anyway, I digress. Which is one of those little British things that we really, really hate. Especially when my son comes home, he goes, "I want a ruler." Go to Buckingham Palace. There's one there. Maybe. Might be on holiday, I don't know, or somewhere else, I don't know. I don't know where he resides. I'm sure I'd be the last to know. What business do I have knowing knowledge like that? But anyway, the point is that what we want to do is we want to put some sort of scanning unit on it. So it needs to stay fairly level. We're going to build this to start with, and then we're going to swap components out as we go along. And we'll share any modifications that we make, obviously on our website, vulcansrealm.com, when I actually get round to posting all this stuff on there. At the moment it's just YouTube, I'm afraid, because of time. What else is there to say? We're printing in Sunlu, not affiliated. But it looks alright, it's coming out alright at the moment. We're printing on a Creality High. I'm going to stop doing that silly high now. And at the moment it looks alright. So there we go. I would print it on my Ender 3 Max. But I forked out for a high. It fits on there. So it is a better printer. You know. So, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, let's not go on about CFS unit anymore. But yeah, so that's what we're doing, or what I'm doing. And I'm going to code up and go share along and all that good stuff. I just wanted to sort of give you a little update, really, just to say hi, how you doing? How you doing? What else? What else could I mention about this? Yeah, it's basically going to be a robotic platform, a self-driving robotic platform. I want to do scanning because I love the 3D verse. I say the 3D verse. I love all game dev and everything like that. And if you look at 3D scanners, right, they're well worth it if you're going to use them every day. They're beautiful. I love it. But I ain't got 40 grand to throw away on one. And I wouldn't buy a second-hand one. So I'm thinking, my 3D models, I want to create a 3D environment. Also, there's a little work side to that as well. Yeah, I want to create and stuff like that, but I like the reality side of creation. So I want to try and do laser scans, hopefully coupled with a camera, so you can get the textures mapped straight on the unit. There are quite a few Arduino projects out there, and we're probably going to rob some information off of them. Let's face it, everyone does it, right? That's what open is about. So it's all about people growing, you know, and learning and adapting, or remixing is the new term, as they like to call it. So we're going to do something along those lines, hopefully. But the other thing, that's my personal take. The other side to it is, what about basic little fire robots, things like that? Now, I originally wanted to create a little fire unit, artillery support. Sorry, not artillery support, infantry support. Something that could be used at a whole range of purposes, and you just change, like an operational unit. It just slides off, slides on. So one day it could fix I don't know, it could suck. You know, it could put out fires. It could then be mounted with support infrastructure for troops. Just however it's deployed, maybe a Mars rover. But just to have a basic base and then have these units slide on, much like Thunderbirds. Was it Thunderbird 5? Was it 5 or 3 or 2? I can't remember. But the big green one. But that's a little way down the road. This is going to get us there. Small steps. But I like the look of this. So this is what I'm printing, and I'm printing it in red. Beautiful little red. I like to use different colours. My final product will be in high-vis yellow, hopefully, if I've got enough of it still. Because I like that filament, even though it was a cheapish one. I really like that high-vis yellow filament. Yeah. I have it printed in other colours if you want to see it in other colours. It's only going to take 8 hours to print, so it doesn't take that long. So yeah, this is getting a bit long-winded, so I'm going to bring this to a close. And we're going to just one just one more thing. We're obviously going to use the camera that we mentioned in the last video, the 1.5-4 servos. Going to need servos for something, although the self-driving car, the actual car operation side of it, if you're going to do it in skid steer, which this model leans towards skid steer, then you're going to need no servos. But anything you attach up here will need servos. And a point to note for future is, if you're going to use a servo, it is a motor. So you can't put it near compasses, you can't do things like that. So if we do something along those lines, that's something that we're going to have to bear in mind. Little kind of design niche effect, if you like. And then we got the other bits which we talked about. What else did we get? Laura went, yes. Oh yes, this is getting used. Not in the first instance, but it will be upgrading. Like I say, we're going to bug test with Wi-Fi on the board and all that good stuff. Anyway, this is getting really long, and I'll let you guys know. Subscribe, like, share, and then you'll get notified as soon as I've got the next section. When that gets built, and we'll start assembling it and see if we need to remix any components. Subscribe along, and you'll be the first to know. Okay, all right, have a great day.